Is it happening?
It is.
We didn't screw it up that bad.
Antisocial experience number 191.
Good Lord, that's a long time.
It's the Halloween episode, and okay for you.
What's that mean?
We'll find out.
I
haven't figured it out
I thought you were gonna explain it.
I haven't figured it out yet.
Okay.
But today we have a little bit of fun. Allegedly, this is gonna be fun. Let's find out. I gotta pull the chat up here for a moment. I'm trying to load chat on my laptop and mute it all at the same time. Production is at an all-time low.
Yeah, you should see my camp. We're lucky we have food and heat.
Them camps get crazy sometimes, man.
I love the camp.
Anyhow, we do have a guest today. Gonna bring him in here as soon as I get this refresh done. The annual Halloween show. This has got to be what, number 3? If we're working on year 4, this would be the 3rd show because we started.
Was I on this one last year? Yeah, I had to.
Yeah, you was definitely on last year.
Son of a bitch! I've been doing this a while.
Yeah, for at least a minute, man.
Yeah,
at least a minute. All right, so I lost that. We won't worry about it. Anyhow, let's continue on with the show. Today's guest, pretty cool guy. Another guy doing what we do, but I don't think to the same degree as far as video with audio.
No, it's audio only, I think, yeah. But I don't know. When you do it, you do video just for the conversation flow.
Oh, yeah. That's what I wanted to find out, some of the inner workings of that show there. But anyhow, without further ado, we're going to take and bring this guy on in here. I got to hit some of the buttons that we got here. Today's guest is Trev Allen from the Struggling Artist podcast. We'll switch it up, bring him in, and hopefully we can all hear each other still.
I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got it.
That went too smooth.
Anyhow, Trev, let's get into some questions real quick.
Sure, let's do it.
If you want to. Struggling Artist podcast, right?
Yeah.
How, like, you do an audio only show, right? Like, your main thing is just the audio show. You don't have like a live stream. You do like how we record it here and send it out live.
Yeah. It's just an audio show. That's how it. When it first became a thing, that's what we did. We did audio only, and then, I've had ideas for videos, but I don't know. I'm not too well versed. So maybe at some point we'll get there. But
it's weird to see yourself at first, man. It like bugged me out for a while. I didn't like it.
I never know where to look. That's the hardest part. So I look at the camera, do I look at you? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, and there's like a couple monitors here, and I'm always like cock my head sideways to this one and then this one, and I'm never looking in the right direction.
Yeah, it does get
It's
tough.
a metaphor for life, really.
Also, it's even, dude, 190 episodes I've edited personally.
Yeah.
And I still hate hearing myself.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something you ever get over.
Is that a struggle for you? Do you go through the shows?
Yeah, I mean, I do editing. I do a bare minimum edit because I kind of keep that conversation vibe more than interviews when I do, So I just edit out like if there's something that we speak on that they're like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have mentioned that yet, or if I'm oohing and ahhing a lot when I'm trying to ask a question, sometimes I like bumble over my words because everything's like my show prep is minimum. Because again, this is like I try to have conversations with people instead of like interviewing. So I never like I have like talking points, but I try to just fly off the hip as much as possible, So there is an editing process. I think everybody hates their voice.
Yeah, it's a common denominator.
Yeah.
What I've talked to with people.
Well, like when I remember when I came on your show, I was like, well, just let me know when you're recording. We were like talking for 10 minutes. You're like, dude, I've been recording since the get go. And I was like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that today with somebody. They're like, "Oh, we've been recording." I'm like, "Yeah, man," and he was a returning guest, so he.
Hell, I haven't remembered that. I don't remember anything. I forgot what we were talking about when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
So you go ahead. You go. Oh, I was going to ask you. You said when I talked to you before too, and just a little bit ago, how you did this, you started this, but then stopped for a while and then brought it back. When did you start it?
Yeah, so like the idea for the Struggling Artists came about in like 2017, I believe, and I had a co-host, like my one of my creative buddies. We always like work on projects together, so we had this idea for this podcast, and I don't know if you guys have done this with your show or not, but like we had 10 different versions of this thing, And so there's like a ton of unreleased episodes of stuff that, I mean, we tried like a variety kind of show. We tried just conversation with like people that we knew, and some of it worked, some of it didn't. And then we kind of just fell into this groove of like, let's just talk to artists and see where it goes. And it's a very different show then to now. When I relaunched, so we went to 2017, and I don't know, probably mid well, yeah, in like 2018 it went off the air. I get off the air. Can you even, is that what it is? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah. All right. Only because like I took a job. I left the state for a few years, and you know, and at one point like Greg was getting super busy with his job. He was the co-host. So like I had all these other ones. I started interviewing people by myself. And then I moved, and I was like, all right, well, I got to get like things situated. I left to go start a restaurant for somebody, and you know, had that thing. So I was busy, and then I moved to Pittsburgh in 2019, and after the first few months, like I was traveling a lot, and things started to slow down. And I said, you know what, I should bring back the podcast. And I didn't know how to do the remote thing. So I actually, my tech guy, Luke Rodriguez from modernhorrors.com, he hooked me up and taught me how to do everything remotely. And then I started recording episodes in December of 2019, and for a launch for January. And then I launched, and then there was a pandemic.
we remember.
Yeah, and a quarantine, and everyone had
what?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, everybody had podcasts. So I was ahead of the curve by a couple months by learning this remote thing, and I think it helped quite a bit. And I tell you what, being in Pittsburgh when this show, it was this show definitely kept me sane, because I mean I didn't know anybody. I just moved there, and then all of a sudden you can't go out and meet anybody, you know.
Yeah, we talked about that before too. Like, yeah, like you know, not knowing anybody, that would be horrible, because that's when I moved there. Like, I think I knew one person, and I was just like, if they were busy, it sucked.
Yeah.
And it's hard to meet people, like even friends or anything, when you're, you know what I mean, like 30s, 40s. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to meet. I don't want, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. It's like you have enough friends and this and that, and throw yourself in a fucking brand new city, and you're just like, wow. You know. And I didn't. It's unfortunate, because like I wanted to give it a fair shake. Like, you know, I moved there I had a job, and then when, you know, my goal was to eventually move back to New England, which is where I am now. But like, you know, I planned on being in Pittsburgh for at least 2 years. And, due to the pandemic and everything, my business kind of went in the tank, and it was like, all right, I guess it's time to mosey on home after a year. And you know, and the podcast has been the constant thing since then. So
You in the restaurant biz?
I was for many. I've done a few different things, and I've always had 2 jobs, and one of them was usually a restaurant job, and then I went full time with it, and you know how that goes.
Yeah, dude. Know? Yeah, everybody here has lived that life too. Yeah, it's good stuff. 2 jobs. Yeah, it's great.
Too much.
I actually finally. I'm off the line now. I just cook, or I just clean the place at late night. It's sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. I hate being on. I just can't do it anymore. People are awful now too since the pandemic. Like, I think they're.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, the majority, yeah, dude. I don't even have patience for it anymore. Like, if you're gonna be out and rude, I'm just like, no. Then I have to say something, and you know how that goes.
Towards the end of my time in Tennessee, that was the last time I was in the restaurant industry, and like, I was very like grumpy old man at that point. Like, yeah. I was the grumpy old bartender manager guy, you know, and I was just like, yeah.
They asked the one cook why I was so negative at work, and he's like, if you fucking worked here 5 years, you'd be negative too.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Take a trip back to the beginning. How did you get on originally to, like, obviously anybody, if they listen to audio content or heard of a podcast, which there's still times where you say that, you're like, do you listen to any podcasts? They're like, what?
Yeah.
How did you get on to, I'm going to start an audio show, a podcast?
All right. So let's break this down. It was probably 2012 when I first heard of podcasting. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And there's this thing that humans do when they don't understand something, or if they're afraid of something, or if they've had a bad experience in something, they kind of fucking shun it, And I was like, what the fuck is a podcast, you fucking herbs? Like, I don't want to do this shit. You know what I mean?
Same.
And then I started listening to a couple podcasts. Because I just, with my job, it was just easier just to put something on, and you put on a podcast and you're listening, but like you could still be, doing what you're doing. And that was probably like 2013, 2014. And then I was just feeling like I write. That's what I do. I'm a storyteller. And I was feeling really uninspired in like early 2017, and Greg approached me, and I don't know if it was his idea or mine, but I said, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's try to work it out. And we worked out what we wanted to do, and I was doing it basically to kind of like, I don't know, get some sort of muse from our guests, so I could be inspired to write again, because I love talking about the process. I love talking about creativity, and yeah, so that's kind of how it went, and then it just kept going. Like I said, I mean, everyone's podcast, you go back to your original recordings, they're terrible.
Oh yeah. That's
so you just keep going, you just keep plugging away, and eventually you make something, and I will say this too, the podcast, the Struggling Artist podcast, is, even from the relaunch in into 2019 or 2020, beginning of 2020 to now, it's completely different too. Like I was still talking to any creative whatsoever, and then now it's picked this lane, and it kind of organically happened where I mainly talk to musicians now, which is awesome, because it's all the bands I like listening to that I get to talk to.
I know, it's so great, man.
So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. It went from, I don't give a shit what that is. What the hell's a podcast? It's never gonna catch on, And if I had a fucking quarter for every time I said something wasn't gonna catch on, and now it's big, it would be, I would have
a few bucks.
Yeah,
bucks.
I'd be doing a couple loads of laundry.
Yeah.
No, just over like you said, over time, there's probably been anybody that tries it, a few different iterations or versions of a show, and the trials and errors that go with it. Through all that, what has been the hardest part, do you think? At least for you.
Keeping it going a couple times. On the show, I talk about mental health quite a bit. I think mental health is uncharted waters still, even though we are far more advanced in talking about it now than, say, 20 years ago, but like there's been times where like I'm depressed and I just don't want to do it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I push myself through it, and I keep going. That's the toughest part. I think the toughest part is definitely when I moved back to Massachusetts. I was like, I'm done. Like I had like 6 of them in the tank to help with like the moving process and settling in, and then I went 3 weeks without one, and I was just like, it's over, I'm done with this. And then I was convinced to keep going by a couple people, and I was like, all right, and I started, and I haven't missed a week yet. So
that's awesome, dude, because that's hard to do too. Like,
it's tough.
Yeah. And like you said about the mental health thing, like there's many, I mean, Nick's seen me in motion too. There's many times where like, I just don't even want to talk to him. That's the last thing I want to do. But like, once I get into it and usually talking to him, like everything just kind of schmoozes out, and I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I did it, but just getting there and doing it's just, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Yeah. Like you said, you get depressed or something. It's just like, man, I do not want to even fucking, like, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah. And so much more to it.
Yeah.
It's like some days it can be like, again, like this,
Yeah.
And then other days it's like, let's go.
It can feel like a job almost or something sometimes, just because I don't know. I don't really like being on a schedule of any sort. Like I just kind of fly,
Yeah.
Do you think that has always been the hardest part? Like even even in the very beginning, is keeping going, or did that change over time?
No, I think that was it from the beginning, because once we had a rhythm, right? Once Greg and I started, like, all right, we had, like, I think out of the episodes that I kept for the relaunch, because I only kept, like, I think a handful of them, just to say, hey, this is what the show was and this is what it is now. I think Greg was only in a few of them. Like, things got busy, and we're both, at the time, we were both managers in the restaurant industry.
Oh yeah, you didn't have a life.
Yeah, it was summertime, and I ran a friggin' surf bar on the beach. Like, it was,
Oh my god,
yeah. So,
dude, no.
so in order to find that time was definitely challenging. I think the second thing was just learning how to edit audio again. I learned a million years ago with Cool Edit Pro, and it's been advanced quite a bit since then. So
when he interviewed me, he's like, "Do you edit your own stuff?" And I was like, "No, I actually got a guy for that. This is the guy." But
yeah.
he's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, luckily, because I'm like, I don't know how to do shit, man." Like,
yeah,
just this pretty face,
dude. It's something, especially anything can be daunting like that, though. If you're getting into it for a hobby, or maybe you want to get into it and then try and monetize it, with opportunities that you have in today's technological world, whether it be a podcast, a YouTube channel,
screen printing,
doing whatever, starting a small business, or getting attention on yourself. I think a lot of it can be daunting task anytime, it's like some real tall orders, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And I think getting into audio, I had no clue.
Yeah, it's definitely a trial. When I set up and I'm editing and shit, like, I still think I'm doing extra steps just to get. I think there's a one button click, but I'm taking 3. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's always challenges with that stuff, Yeah.
Like, another thing too is, and I want to throw this out there to anybody that may, tune in, hear the show today, hear it in the future, wherever you hear it from. If you are doing a show and the audio part is getting to anybody, as far as like the editing, the amount of time I wasted originally trying to get good sounding audio with trying every program, whether it be Audition or Audacity, whatever digital audio workstation, and trying to use presets to just throw a preset on it with default settings to get good sound. Wasted so much time trying each one of those in different combinations instead of just learning how the dang things work.
Yeah.
And once I took that step out of my comfort zone, like where I can just throw something default on it and have it work, and learn how does this plugin work? How does the compressor work? How does the noise gate work, or expansion? Much, much easier. So just set aside a weekend, a week, whatever. Check it out, and don't waste your time trying to just use defaults.
or half a year in my case.
It's funny you say that, Nick, because like I'm not gonna lie, I'm still using a cheat code for that stuff. My podcast hosting site, they offer mastering for like $8 a month.
Oh yeah. Well,
I'm just like, boop, take it.
it's not really a cheat code. That's kind of like it's an algorithm, I guess, or probably a couple algorithms that are a combination of those plugins. And if you pay them, they'll take, and you can, use cycles on their CPU, on their server, process your audio, and end up with a decent result.
And for $8 a month, that's like one less thing.
Yeah. Well, and the whole reason why I ended up doing that was because the gentleman I spoke to today, the first time I talked to him, he was the first guest to ever give me a song of his to play. And I was like, I got to make sure this comes in good. Like, this can't be clipping. This can't be the levels can't be off. So that's when I opt for that $8. And eventually I plan on teaching myself through, I use Studio One. I plan on teaching myself all the compressor plugins and all that stuff. But at the moment, I just haven't had the time.
Yeah. I mean, you have a solution, though, is the thing. And it's like, I'm not familiar with exactly what you said. Like I've never used that particular service, but I've used similar services.
Yeah.
And I wasted money paying for similar services to try and compare it to like the results I was getting throwing these default plugins on, not changing any of the settings, not knowing how it worked. Let's combine these. And then I'd go pay for a service for like a month. Or if they offered like a one-time fee to use it once, I would edit the same episode and compare mine against it. And I'm like, how is this getting so much better of a result? And it's literally an algorithm that just analyzes the audio and adjusts the stuff that needs adjusting. And I'm trying to do this. And I was like, all right, time after, I don't know, probably about $100 wasted. I'm like, all right, let's quit throwing money away and learn how to do this ourselves. You know. But no, it's yeah, it can be daunting, and that's audio.
Yeah,
I just like to quit throwing money away, regardless.
That's what we do here.
Yeah, indeed.
So another big thing, and I want to see if this is a challenge. We know it's a challenge here. Booking. Is that a big thing?
No, I do pretty well with it, you know. I don't know why, but I do pretty well. And some of it, so early on, I would talk, like I said, I was talking to anybody. So I mean, everybody from podcasters to, you know, YouTubers and anybody who created anything. They want to talk about it, you know. So, but what I did have a kind of challenge with was if I start talking with somebody, you know, and saying, all right, yeah, maybe we could get together and do this. Finding people who are genuine, that's been a challenge. You can tell, you know, where maybe it's from working in the service industry as long as I have, but you can kind of sniff out the bullshit with people pretty quick, you know. Can I cuss? I'm sorry.
Yeah, tons. Yeah, please.
Fuck yeah, please.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's America.
I would start talking with somebody, a potential guest, like through, you know, Twitter direct message or whatever, or wherever it was, and you know, and they're saying like they're talking this big game, and I like kind of shy away from that stuff, you know. Another thing was I had like when I relaunched, I had like close to like 10 episodes in the bank just ready to go. And
nice.
The challenge that happened with that was a pandemic. We're into like April and we're not talking about the pandemic with my guests because they were recorded in January. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
For me, I was like, oh, so I broke down and I have a system I use now. Like this is where I get I'm all high tech now. That's what I like to say. I use like a Google Sheets, and they have a calendar option through Google Sheets. And what I do is I black out the days that I can't do a podcast for the month. I pick about 5-6 people, and I reach out to them, and I give them the pitch of what the show is. Some reach out to me, which is pretty fucking rad. I got a really cool story about that we can get to in a little while. But like so I just send them this calendar and I say, all right, put in the, you know, here's the calendar with open availability. Just plug your name in and we'll get it done. And it hasn't had a problem since with the booking. You know, I've never had anybody say no to me, which is cool. I've had
many, like multiple or many, however you want to say that. No replies from people.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean that's like. It's kind of like when you're first starting out, like you're not, obviously, episode 2, you're not going to be interviewing like Joe Rogan or Howard Stern, so why ask them?
Yeah, right.
But that's kind of what I learned too with doing the other show was like I was shooting for the stars when I first started, remember? Like I was going for all these fat record band, blah, blah, blah. And like mine, like you say, kind of took its own like little foot into like, I don't know, the tri-state area, Pittsburgh, blah, blah, blah. And now like I'm like part of that scene, and I like being a part of that scene.
I think with mine, so all right, so we're gonna remember a little while ago I just said that I was gonna give up after I moved back to Massachusetts,
right?
And when two people like really like pushed me to like keep it going, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna ask Mike Shue, who was at the time he was it was over, but WAAF was a radio station out of Boston, and it was like one of the biggest in the country at one point.
Oh, shit.
And he was a DJ there. I'm like, I'm going to ask Mike Shue. And then I also said, like, I'm going to ask Mark Lind, who is from, Mark Lind is a musician out of Boston. He was the Ducky. He started the Ducky Boys. Mark Lind and the Unloved. Sinner and Saints, he started with his brother Rob Lind, who was from Blood for Blood. Like, you know what I mean? So Mark Lind, the Ducky Boys was like a huge, like their band. That band was such a big influence on me when I was younger. And I was like, I'm going to ask Mark Lind, I'm going to ask Mike Shue. And if they say no, then I'm fucking done. And they both said yes. So, and that's kind of how it started. And then all of a sudden now I have, Mark Lind's record label, State Line Records, and he owns getpunk.com. Like, they're a sponsor of the podcast now. And, you got to take chances. And I was never afraid. I've never been afraid to try something new for an experience. And I've never been afraid to, take a chance on something. I'm afraid of success though. So I'm always trying to run away from that, but
same.
But so that's kind of, after that, to me, I was like, I'll ask anybody. I don't give a fuck,
Right, because you don't know till you ask is what I learned from this,
Yeah. And that's same thing. I've had a couple people come on that I'm like, I can't believe they said and decent people to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very decent.
Mm.
And it's just it's like not everybody's going to have that same response.
Yeah.
Is the other thing too. But I guess you gotta take one with all.
If I wouldn't have done that podcast, you would have been like one of two friends that I had. But now I have many. The Morning Buzz. But like now I know many people, like Pittsburgh and all that. But, it'd have been you and Brian. Like, that'd have been it, because I would have talked to anybody.
But I think it's a good thing, mentally. Oh,
dude, it's you know where I was. Like, it definitely helped my cause.
Yeah,
that's maybe you, Trev, and anybody else that hears this now later can agree on this, but as much work as you can put into just an audio show, or an audio show that has a video counterpart like this, or YouTube channel, even Twitch streamers, I would say anybody creating stuff, as much work as goes into it, do you find that it can be kind of relaxing or unwinding to the rest of life?
I mean, it gives me something to look forward to sometimes, and I don't know. Every time I record an episode, when I'm done, I feel like I just did like a 8-ball of cocaine. Like, I'm just like,
won lottery.
Whatever. I drink coffee throughout it and stuff sometimes, but like, I'm just amped up afterwards. And it's because of the conversation. Human beings, we're meant to interact with each other, and as I'm an introvert through and through, but like, it's just, this is my way to be able to extrovert myself, it was always tending bar and doing this podcast. Those are the two things that like I use my, I can use my energy on, and I still feel kind of okay after. With bartending was a little different, because I would always, my days off, I would just like not talk to anybody. I would just lock the doors and not leave my apartment,
Yeah, and just, you don't want to hear your name called one goddamn time. It's just like, do not say my fucking name, man. That drives me nuts.
I wouldn't answer texts or nothing like that. But like with the podcast, it's just a little different. I don't know, man. It's been quite the therapy session for me, in the last couple years, and it's helped me with a lot of things, like on that mental health level.
Mm-hmm.
I can't preach that enough. Like, I do episodes on holidays, weeks of holidays, because usually there's not a lot of traffic, and I do these like solo episodes, and I just talk about my crazy shit, and there it is.
Yeah, because holidays are rough. I don't know if you deal with that shit. You know what I mean? You like the holidays week. Yeah, they suck, man. Like, it's always rough. And
no one wants to listen to a podcast during the holidays. So,
well, not no one, but most people.
I don't know. We've had some people watching on holidays.
The
holiday streams we've done.
That one year, I remember my grandma was so pissed because I'm like, I got to go do this thing. And she's like, you didn't even eat. And I'm like, oh, sorry, bye.
Oh, was that when we did the 4-man the game show?
That was the first time I came on here, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, doesn't matter.
That was good times. Though.
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
But, yeah, I don't know. I just think like I look at it personally just as a way to, with work in life and the stresses that go with that. This is, yeah, it can be stressful with technical difficulties, but it's also like really a way to unwind or just chill out where you're not dealing with that stuff for a short, brief time.
Mm.
Then as soon as the episode over, it's like, great, now I got to edit this shit and hear myself. And
Yeah.
I like, the way just talking to, like you said, talking to people, man. Like it's, and I'm the same way. Like I barricade myself in my house most of the time too. So like I'm not out, talking to people. So it's kind of my way of saying, and it's cool. Like I said, like just you meet, like you said, it's the genuine people thing too. Like you can sniff out the bullshit quick too. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. There's pretentious people that are pretentious, and yeah, it's easy to kind of see them, especially if you follow them on social media. And like, there's this thing, right? You gotta love what you're doing, and I believe in that, and I believe in like whatever you're working at, like just give it your all. If you're in the custodial arts, make sure your floors shine brighter than anybody else's. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. Like it's just, I don't know if that was just the way my grandfather kind of installed like this work ethic early on. Like, I remember my earliest memories, we lived on a vegetable farm with my grandparents, and I'm kicking cow shit out of the back of a trailer into a cornfield, like just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I've always just like take pride in your work and in what you do. And this is basic. I mean, you guys have a weekly show, like, and you've got way more episodes in the tank than I do. So like, this is a job. It's a job, and it takes a lot of effort into doing it. And we, I think we, we put it all out there for it,
yeah, to an extent, definitely, I agree.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah.
Are we all around the same age group?
I'm 40, so
yeah, I'm older than you, so 41, I think. What year is this? 21, 41? Yeah, I'm 41.
What month is this? This is October still. Yeah, I'll be 38 in like 2 months.
All right.
Yeah, so we're all the same age.
Yeah,
around that same age group, roughly. Get out of the interview conversation phase. Let's try and get into some Halloween fun for a few minutes. All right.
Okay. If I have to dress up or trick or treat, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. On screen?
Whatever.
Right. Ready?
Yeah. Go.
No. Just I remember Halloween's as a kid, being able to dress up. Obviously as a kid, then as an older kid, and teenager, and then an adult. And now there's stuff you can't dress up as. And I don't remember any of that as a kid. Do you know what I mean? Just with the whole social landscape of the world today.
Yeah.
Just as far as like the offensive costumes.
Yeah, not
whatever.
everybody was a bunch of sissies. I'll say it.
Yeah, well, there's that. I mean, do you remember that? Do you remember ever being anything you couldn't dress up as? As a teenager?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there was many. Yeah, no, but a lot of things. How do I put this? A lot of things between then and now, right? Like, I mean, let's put some things in perspective. Like, a lot of things that we were taught in school weren't accurate, right?
Right.
So,
not at all.
And now there's like, now because of things like the internet where you can actually research shit, you learn things a little bit differently. I guess I don't really know per se like what kind of costumes you're thinking of, but like,
well, they have all the one, and obviously people making costumes have tried to make it more offensive year after year, because there's always a list you can look up of stuff that you don't dress up as, like a Holocaust victim.
Yeah.
It's all the
Klan member.
Yeah. All the shit like that, blackface. But it's just like, were people doing that when we were kids, like adults, people at colleges?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think people were, because again, 30 years ago,
we just weren't as connected as we are today.
Yeah, we just weren't. And if someone had like, I think like, the word like something that was funny, right? We grew up in a day and age where if you say the most, like, if you want to like freak out your friends, like that was comedy. You know what I'm saying? Like, say something so absurd because you're not that way, or because you aren't that. You know what I mean? And like, I think but now it's like you look back at it and it's just like, yeah, you shouldn't have said that, and or you shouldn't have dressed up like that, you know. And
But that literally was the time.
yeah, it was the time was like, you know, just if you say the most off the wall shit, you're the funny friend, you know. And whether or not you believe it, you know, hopefully you didn't believe those things. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like I'm not saying, hey, we need a whole lot more of that from whenever I was a teenager or whatever back in today's world now. Like, I'm definitely not saying that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I remember being a teenager in Ohio, and at Halloween time, I saw a Klan member and a Black Panther, like, not literally, but people dressed up as walking together trick-or-treat. And I'm like, this is
the
just,
animal or the gang member?
No, like
I ruined your Black Panther party.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a Klan member trick-or-treating together. I'm like, this
neat,
bizarre shit. But I'm like, okay, that's, you know,
yeah,
that's what you want to dress up as. But I think it was two friends that were doing it as a gag. And I mean, some people were laughing, some people weren't. Mm-hmm. But it's like, you do that today, and anybody, like, you're good luck trick-or-treating, because society is going to be like trying to cancel you, get you fired, kicked out of school, expelled, whatever.
Right. Yeah. So again, it's context in the days that we're in. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. Like,
yeah, we were like coming out of the 80s, so like, you know, we were chain smoking cigarettes, doing cocaine, you know, like at the age of 10, watching Die Hard.
Not me, man. Not me. 11 kids straight.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah,
No,
I just I don't so it's a touchy subject, right? So it's like,
oh, certainly
you're gonna have people who are extreme on both ends too. So like, the people who, you know, like, let's put it this way: if someone is dressing up like a Klan member for Halloween now, like, you know, read the room, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like they should probably, like, you know, you're not, like, it's not, you know, that's probably not the best thing to do in 2021, you know. So, you know, I've never seen like a Klan costume for sale though. Like, it was,
No, it's always a poorly done one.
Yeah, like on South Park that time.
Yeah. So I guess it's all come down to like just that kind of thing. Like, you got to read the room, you know. If you're not gonna, you know, if you live in Rhode Island, like, you're not gonna make jokes about nightclubs burning down, right? You're just not gonna do that. Stuff like that, you know. Like, it's just, I don't know. I understand. Like, I was one of those people when I was younger where I was just like, let me just get a rise out of everybody, and I'll say some off the wall shit. And I look back at it now, and I'm like, I never believed in it, you know. But you know what? Like, I didn't help anything by doing that, though.
I think a lot of teens, when you're first becoming a teenager, not all, but I think the majority go through a phase like that.
Well, yeah, you want to stand out.
Yeah.
At least. I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm not a good measuring instrument for the world as a whole.
Yeah. No, I
just
hear you.
my limited experiences. But I, you know, a lot of my friends were the same way too. So I don't know. I think for even the dummies that still want to complain about not being able to wear whatever costumes, because there's a few out there, you know. But then again, there's also the other side of that coin too. You know, like it is only costumes that you're dressed. You know what I mean? Because I've heard people use that as the argument. Like, look, it's Halloween.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you got to go piss people off.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, find something more tasteful to dress up as. And it's just, like you said, read the room.
Yeah.
But even the dummies that want to use that argument, I figured out a solution. Just imagine a world, right? Where if you're going to dress up as Halloween, it's not a one-day thing. You got to commit to that costume, that attire for the next year.
Yeah.
Totally, dude. Totally.
Huh? Think of this.
You know what I would be? I'd be a millionaire.
Right?
Halloween.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dollars. Give me them dollars.
I'd be Elwood Blues because I like wearing a suit.
Shit, man. But I don't know. It's just it's a thing. I brought it up on a few other Halloween episodes. Never had a guest on that I knew of that we really talked about it. So I figured I'd throw it out there.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, I get it. Like, and again, like there was a time where I would laugh at something like that, I guess. But it also like it goes back to wherever the times that we're in, and you know what I'm saying. Like, if you're now, let's put it like, say like your mom and dad, you're like 9 or 8, and your mom and dad dress you as a Klan member for Halloween, like. I'm pretty sure there's some low key like racism going on there, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they're trying to set a tone in your life, you know.
Yeah, I don't know about low key. That's pretty blatant.
Yeah, like
you know. So like I you know, I don't know. It's just one of those things because like I had a less than desirable father, and you know there were times in my life when I was young that like I would kind of say the same bigotry shit that he would say, and I wasn't like, I didn't believe in it. I just wanted my father's attention. I wanted him to, you know, give a shit, you know, and then I was so like, it didn't take me long to figure out like, that's not who I am. Why am I doing that? You know? So.
right. And same thing, not trying to slight my dad, you know, he's not with us anymore, but he came from a way different time. He was born in 1929. And you think we were cracking jokes as teenagers and may have acted unaccordingly for certain situations. That world back then compared to today's world, like it's two different worlds in the way they lived and talked.
Yeah, even my grandmother, I mean, she was the sweetest person in the world, but man, she said some stuff.
Yeah, well, here's the thing too, like that's what they were brought up to believe in, right? And with everything said, like reading a room, even if you read the room wrong, right? I still believe in redemption. I still believe if someone did something, you know, 10 years ago, like I mean, fuck, man, I'm a much different person than 4 years ago. You know what I mean? There's growth.
Oh,
As long as you grow as a human being, I think there should be a lot. There should be. Now, I'm not saying like if you went out and killed a bunch of people, like 5 years ago, and then you know, and now you feel like
It's cool now.
Yeah, no, I'm
good.
not saying that, but like, you know, I think I think redemption is the thing, man. I think redemption should or at least should be a thing, and I think, like I said, people change,
Right,
and,
right.
you know, learn as long as they learn from experience.
Who is that guards the gates? Is that St. Peter?
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
If you believe in that sort of that type of religion, who guards the gates to heaven? Is it St. Peter?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't read books.
Well, just talking about redemption, like, what if you are one of them people, and it's like you get there, you getting turned away, like, nah, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he said, if you didn't kill somebody or anything, you shouldn't. I don't know. Like, you shouldn't be. I don't know. But in this town, you are like.
It's like, come on, bro. You know what you did. We can't let you in these gates. It's like, what? A Halloween costume that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said about like being different 4 years ago. Like, dude, I can tell you, a year ago, like I was a completely different person, like completely. So, like,
It's like, what?
A lot of shit can happen.
What do you mean? I'm being banned from heaven because I dressed up as Thor? Like, you didn't dress up as the all-inclusive female Thor. You know what you did. Like,
and where's your goddamn hammer?
I don't think they're kicking you out for that. You know.
I don't know.
But some more severe shit, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Not really.
Yeah.
Probably not though, right? Because
I bet you Peter's got some shit on his list too.
Yeah, I was gonna say most of religion's all fucking bigotry anyway. So
yeah, mind control, man.
Yeah, I it's like I wanted to get somebody on this show to kind of talk about that, about religion, and get somebody on here like really dig into it for an episode. You know, but I don't want to. I mean, obviously, a dumpster fire of an episode would be a great episode. People would see that, laugh, maybe get angered, whatever. But it's like, do you really want to get somebody in here that's going to start preaching, you know, or on the mic that's going to start preaching to you?
Yeah.
You already have me.
Well,
yeah, it's $50.99. I'll save your
you know
soul.
what I mean? But then you start asking about the questionable parts of the Bible or whatever questionable part of whatever religion.
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
Well, there is some questionable stuff in the Bible.
Right?
Man.
No, I get it. There's stories to learn from.
There's stories to learn from, but there's also shit that it's like
I know nobody.
this world ain't living like that today, man.
Yeah.
And it's like you're backing this fully.
Yeah, like it's Lord of the Rings shit,
Just I don't know.
top shelf stuff.
But to each their own, like you said. In redemption, yeah. Unless you're out slaughtering people, yeah, fully. You got to live and learn, right?
Or if you're still, living whatever way that you're,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
If you stay stagnant,
yeah. If you're still like, dressing up as that clan member or whatever the fuck, like,
or just a regular male Thor.
yeah,
yeah, either way, you're
not
gonna get
being
your ass
inclusive.
kicked.
yeah.
Oh shit. I don't know. I think we as a people, as a species, I think we got a long way to go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to, I don't know. I think technology, the advancement of technology happened so much, like so fast in such a little time for our age group. Like, I think this is why I think sometimes like people are redeemable, because like you didn't know how to act, all of a sudden we had the internet, and then all this shit just started happening all at once. And again, obviously there's some things that you can't fucking be forgiven for, but I think a big part of no forgiveness has something to do with the internet, because now you can like, whether or not either side, you could stand on a soapbox and just scream at each other now,
Right.
and there's no consequences, right? So what's your consequence? All right, so the consequence is you get canceled now. However, if someone did something a decade ago that was like, for whatever reason, and like they've grown from that experience and they've realized they did something wrong and this and that, should they be canceled now? No, and then the people who continue to try that, I think they have an agenda as well. You get what I'm saying? So like,
yeah, certainly.
Let's just fucking unplug it. That would suck for our podcasts, but
Yes.
Yeah, but like I don't hate turning my phone off at all. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
We're ready though. In the event podcasts get canceled, we're gonna be pressing vinyl.
That's it.
You just got to come get them. We ain't shipping. Each new episode on vinyl weekly. Could you imagine?
No,
Phew, that'd be expensive.
I know.
That'd be limited runs. That'd be by request.
That would be me making money for just podcasting.
No, man. I don't know. I think a couple true statements here today. Anyhow, do we got anywhere else we want to take it?
I'm here. We're good.
Yeah. Dude, thank you. Thanks a million for coming on. It's always good to hear, from somebody else that creates, and especially somebody that does podcasting or
Thank
a
you.
podcaster or
And does a good job at it. You're a fuck of a host, man. You do a great job.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to hear. I'm not used to compliments.
The
I'm
other
not used
thing-
to. Well, I'm not used to accepting compliments, but I'm getting there, Jimmy. I'm getting there.
I do the same thing, man. Like, but you do a good job, dude.
The other thing,
Thank you.
and this could be my extreme distaste for my own voice, but it's like I got two great voices on mic, and then you got me sitting over here. And it's like, hopefully I can look good with you two guys talking good on mic, sounding good.
Yeah,
I don't have the best radio voice or podcast voice, but
And there's not a scale for that. Fuck them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
anyhow, yeah. So what are you guys dressing up as for Halloween?
I'm gonna dress up as a screen printer and go pull my hair out for the rest of the night.
I have no hair, so I'm just gonna turn the lights off and hopefully no one comes to the door.
I know. I'm like, they better not show up.
They'll
at the
still
door.
knock. They'll still knock. We tried it. I tried it. My dad tried it many years. Never had lights on. We'd get mobs every year on a dead end street.
They're not getting any candy out of me. So.
No, it's all mine.
Give them coffee with shots of espresso and just hand it out on a cold night.
Yep, send them home. And everybody below 6 and lower than that, feed them, show us, and be like, go home with your parents. They'll love you for it.
One other thing, just because we're getting to the end of the show here, where if people, obviously, if people know what a podcast is, they know how to find the show. But where all can people find your content at? Is it
Yeah.
pretty much any platform?
Yeah, I according to my podcasting host, I'm pretty much everywhere. The Struggling Artist podcast, new episodes drop between Mondays and Tuesday mornings. Only because I'm so excited to get an episode out there that I drop it on a Monday instead of the scheduled Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, on all social medias, I guess. Instagram is podcast TSA, Twitter's podcast TSA, the Struggling Artist podcast on Facebook. I guess that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, you're definitely on Apple Podcasts. That's what I listen to you through. So
Yeah, I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, whatever the fuck, you know.
Super easy to find on Android.
yeah.
And that's saying a lot because I've had a hard time finding Rogan's show to subscribe to hit like with a new phone or whatever before like apps started like keeping track of stuff for you so much like they do now.
Yeah.
I'd have to like do it manually, add him. And it's like, so your show come right up on the Android side of things. So
That's good. I'm doing
Yes,
something
sir.
right. I'm doing something right, I guess.
You're doing all right, man. But thank you. Seriously, appreciate you coming on. Like, it's nice to have you on one too, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Good talking to you.
one to end it with too, long-term goal for the Struggling Artist or your show.
Oh, that's a big one.
If you could put something out there, it could be lofty, it could just be keep it going, whatever. What do you got?
You know what? My biggest thing is for listeners to listen and get something out of it. Like if they struggle with their creativeness and they hear these musicians talk about their struggles and they say, "Hey, I can relate to that." That's what it's all about, man. It's all about, like, again, it's a human experience, human interactions.
Nicely said. We couldn't have said that any better.
Yeah.
All right, people. We are going to tune out of here. Don't forget, every Sunday, 5 p.m., new audio episode. It's just the audio from the live stream the week before, but that's how we run it here. Massive thank you to our guest, Trev Allen, coming in. Dude, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Take care. I'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
gotta remember what buttons to press over here. And we will be back with you next week, people. Take care of you, yours, your friends, whoever, whatever order you want to put that in.
Don't wear shitty costumes.
All right, let's tune it out.
All right.
Thank you for joining us, people.
Yeah. See you.
I gotta find the button.
The
Where's
button.
the damn button, Jimmy?
Cut the wire. The red one.